Yo, peace was good. Welcome to the Hip Hop Album Review. This is part 154. The album that I'll be reviewing tonight is Tales of Hoodlum's second album, or Tragedy Gaddafi's second album, titled Saga of a Hoodlum, released in 1993. You guys by now should know who he is. I did a review on his first album, the self-titled album, Tales of Hoodlum, that came out in 90. It's funny too because I was watching an interview that he did back in September, like a couple months ago, where he said that wasn't really his name, because he went by Intellgent Hoodlum, but that wasn't his name. His name was Tragedy because he used to roll with Molly Mall when he was with the Super Kids, and his name was Tragedy. And I mentioned that well, not that he didn't go by the name, which I didn't know. I thought his name was Intelligent Hoodlum, but that was just the name of his first album. So his name was always Tragedy. All right, and then after the album, I don't know what happened to him. Like, I don't know if he just took a break, was just working on music, or he got into, he was just, I don't know. I guess he was like still in the streets, because he was still dabbling in the streets, at the time. So that's probably why it took him a while to make an album. Which if you know Tragedy, he's the real deal. Like, whatever he says, like, he spit that real shit. You know what I mean? That's why I fucks with that nigga. But nevertheless, he dropped this album 3 years after the Intelligent Hoodlum album. So this came out, like I said, 3 years after. So there's 3 singles off the album. The singles are Grand Groove, Street Life, and the Posse. And I guess if you want to be realistically, I will put the funk mode as well, but it's not the funk mode that you guys are thinking about with Havoc, because that came out years, like a couple of years later. But it's that version is not on this album. Sadly, it would have been dope on this album, but it's the original version where it's the solo version, but it's a different beat. So, but yeah. Alright, so this is what the album looks like. Pretty dope. Kind of has like that X-ray night vision look to it. Pretty dope. If you go online and you just type in Saga of a Hoodlum, you can actually see the original cover, like the original picture of it. But that's pretty dope. I mean, it's pretty dope. It's kind of set the tone of the album right there. So this is what the CD looks like. Alright, it's yellow. Open it up. See Young Tragedy, see you got the peace sign, you know what I mean? Tragedy's chilling right there, is looking at something. Pretty dope right there. Kind of like a collage of words made into a body. Pretty dope. Got the album credits, who produced what. See Tragedy right there chilling. Got the sign right there. Everybody's seen that sign before. But it's pretty cool. I didn't realize this until now, but I guess the guy I bought it from, he wrote wrote this out, because back then, a lot of rappers in the 90s have fan clubs. So, like, when you fill it out, usually you'll get like a free t-shirt or like a poster or some stuff like that. I wish MC still do that now, but, people are too good for that. But, I mean, there's people that still do that, but, you gotta go on their website and get it. So, alright. So, the producers on the album there's 2 producers. Well, there's a couple producers. Let me check and see. Producers are K Def. Shout out to K Def, dope producer from Jersey, who was like, he was like Molly Mall's prodigy and shit like that. Molly Mall. Cool T and Shake City Productions. Cool T, I've heard of him before. From what I remember, he did some stuff for like Flatliners of their first album, the USA album, the Understatements Authority. That's where I remember him from. Cool T. So I'm assuming that's the same Cool T. K-Def, like I said before. The Epitome of Scratch, Grand Cut. Mr. Freak Nasty. And I think that's it. Those are the producers in the album, alright? Alright, you know how I get down. I'm gonna go through some of the tracks. Alright. Alright, Shalom Alek. It's just an intro to the album. Kind of sets the tone of the album. It's a braggadocio track. He does like one verse, but but then at the end of the song, at the end of the track, like he ends up shouting people out and stuff like that. Like all the established rappers out at the time that was popular back in the early '90s and stuff like. He shouts out like Onyx, Brand Nubian, and people like that. It's a nice funky jazz. I like the beat. It has like a nice funky jazz feel to it with a deep bass line, deep dark bass line. Like I said, it kind of sets the tone of the album, so pretty dope. Track 2, Hoodlum Intro. It's just an instrumental. It's like about 25 seconds long. Track 3, Underground. That's just a braggadocio track right there. It has like a nice dark, funky organ, like jazzy organ piano feel to it. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you know, like those old school blue note organ Hammond, the B3 Hammond, like kind of like that song Green Onions, like those organs, like those blue organs that they used back in the '60s. It's kind of like that, but the way it was flipped, it was like really funky. It's pretty dope. I believe that was produced by K Def. Track 4, Funk Mode. Like I said, that's the original version, not the remix with Havoc. And the remix was produced by Lost Professor. Like I said, that's not that version. This one's the original version. It's just Tragedy himself. But it's a different beat. Things like that. Pretty dope right there. Track 5, Grand Groove. Everybody used that sample. It's a familiar sample. I forgot the name of the sample. But just talks about how he just talked about the people that passed away. Just dedicated to the people that passed away in his life, and this is how he appreciates life, like the little things in life and stuff like that. How he shouldn't take life for granted. Things like that. And that's pretty much what he talks about. Pretty dope track. There's a video for that joint right there too. But I think it's the remix that you that you hear in the video. It's not the original version. Track 6, At Large. He just talks about being he talks about being like public enemy number one. Kind of compares himself to like people like Nat Turner and stuff like that. It gets kind of a little bit racial in a sense, you know what I mean? But it's a dope track right there. I really fucks with that joint. Like I could see that being a video, but I can see why that wasn't a video. I did the remix, the Marley Marl remix, At Large. Oh my god! If I find it, I'll post it down in the description box. Track 7, Death Row, pretty dope track. It's a conceptual track. It just talks about him being in death row, about his man snitched on him just to get a lighter sentence, or whatever, or to get parole. And he finds out, he's pissed off. He's all angry and bitter, which I would be too. And just calling me he's a bitch ass nigga, that type of shit. And then, like how he would try to call his girl, but his girl is ignoring him. He's like he never even accepting his calls from jail. It's just fucked up. He's just talking about like his man is probably fucking his wife and all that type of shit. And then like how he's gonna end up raising my kid and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, a lot of people could relate to that. Well, I can't relate because I've never been to jail, but I'm pretty sure people in the pen could relate to that shit. You know what I mean? So it's crazy right there. Pretty dope track right there. Track 8, Speech. Check the time. That's a skit. It's talking about he's like at a rally. I'm assuming like at a 5% Nation rally. He's just saying like, what time is it? It's the black man's time. That type of thing. Pretty cool. Track 9, Mad Brother Knows His Name. Pretty dope joint right there. The remix is dope too. It's really dark. Because the original version is dark, but the remix is just as dark too. It's a braggadocio track. Nice. I like how he put I like how K Def did the beat. I like how he put the Guru sample as a chorus. Like Mad Brothers Know His Name off the just to get a rep sample, like the chorus, not the chorus, but like one of the lines where he says, Mad Brothers go to get his Mad Brothers knows his name and some shit like that. So that's where he got that from the Just to Get a Rep song off the Step Arena album. Which I have to do a review on eventually. Track 10, Pass the Tech, that featured Havoc of Mobb Deep. Dope gangster track, you know what I mean? Just them talking, you know, the gun talk, you know, stuff like that. Pretty dope. Track 11, Street Life, that's a single as well. Pretty dope track. In the first verse, you know, it talks about a teenage girl who ends up getting pregnant, you know, and the mom gets, you know, obviously gets pissed off. And she's disappointed with her daughter, ends up kicking her out, and you know, it's got to the point where like her man's not doing anything to do with her, cause you know, like just hitting a quitter type of dude, you know, sucker shit if you ask me. Ends up bouncing on her, so she ends up, you know, becoming like, you know, addicted to drugs and stuff like that. I think she got hooked on I want to say crack, yeah, cause there was a line where he says like she started blowing in front of her baby and stuff like that, and then she ended up becoming a prostitute, which is fucked up, you know what I mean? So, and the second verse, it talks about this drug dealer, you always see them all the time, the big dope boys out there, you know, just, you know, making money, you know, doing what he gotta do to make moves, but he ends up, you know, getting high off his own supply, which happens, which you're not supposed to do, but you know, it happens. And you know, he got hooked on heroin, and then he ended up getting HIV, and then he ended up getting killed. He ended up dying from that, and that's what the second verse entails. And the third verse just tells about a stick-up kid named Peace. What an oxymoron! His name is Peace, but he's sticking up niggas. Yeah, okay. But anyways, his name is. I'm sorry, I had to do that. But his name is Peace. He ended up he's a stick-up kid. He's doing what he gotta do to get by, but then he ends up meeting the wrong person, and then that person ends up killing him and shit like that. And so the whole moral of the story is living a street life is not worth it. It's not worth your life. It's not worth losing your life, is what he's trying to say. So pretty dope joint right there. Track 12, Pump the Funk, one of my favorite joints off the album, man. What I like about it is that he's comparing like his music to drugs, like him like being a drug dealer, like, and what I mean by that is like, you know, he has a car, right, and that car has a nice system, and so like when he's driving in the hood throughout the hood, he has a nice system and it's blasting his music and shit like that, and it's just like having people just be in the zone, just bobbing their head and shit like that. And the cops, you know, see this dude with a nice car and a nice system, like, yo, what the fuck? So the cop pulls him over and then like, yo, what are you selling? And it's like not knowing that he has no drugs, but the music is the drugs. So that's what I meant by he compares music to drugs, like, and it's like a nice ode to like people that have nice sound system in your car and stuff like that. And like I could just imagine playing that song in the system, just like pumping, because I play it in my computer speakers, and it has like it has a subwoofer, and then just hearing that shit boom 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 boom, and like the nice dope Eazy-E sample. I forgot how it goes, but like it sits well with the song. I really like that joint right there. Track 13, Role Model. It just talks about, you know, how people in the hood, not everybody, because I don't want people to, you know, go like, oh, you generalizing, because it's not true, because I'm from the hood too. But, you know, it's just sort of about how some people in the hood, they didn't grow up with, you know, fathers and stuff like that, or mothers, or people that live in a single parent home, you know, doing what they gotta do because, you know, they never had a role model. They never had nobody to teach them from right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, stuff like that. And it just talks about why some guys end up selling drugs or, you know, joining gangs because they didn't have that father. So they're looking for that role model that will look up to them, that they could look up to and kind of like guide them to that direction and stuff like that. Same thing with women, you know, some women that they didn't have a father growing up, and then, you know, they end up becoming prostitutes and or just doing what the fuck they have no business doing and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what we're talking about. And it's so relatable too, because that's why I see a lot of kids today are so disrespectful because like the lack of role models and stuff like that. A lot of there's no it's always like single parent homes. But I will have to tell you this because I mean look, not to toot my own horn, but me and my little brother, we practically grew up in a single parent home where like my father, he died at a young when he was like back in '94. I was 7 at the time, and then my mom met my stepfather. You know, they did what they had to do, and then the magic happened. My brother popped up back in 1996. But then like my stepfather was an asshole. He didn't know how to be a father. You know what I mean? So he ended up bouncing and shit like that, and then like my mom had to like do what we had to do to bring us up as people, as you guys see me today. And I could have easily joined a gang, be a Blood or a Crip or whatever. Well, I would say Blood because I grew up in a Blood neighborhood. I could have easily done that, but I didn't want to disappoint her, and that's not my kind of thing. That's not who I was as a person. You know what I'm saying? So, but some people are not fortunate like that. Is what I'm trying to say. So that song is somewhat relatable because there are times like I do wish I had my father around. Just had that father talk. I never had that father talk. Like but it is what it is. But I know some of my people can relate to that. Track 14, the Posse. That's another single. There's a video for that too. Pretty dope track right there. It just talks about historical black cowboys from the 19th century. It talks about a guy named Brandon Johnson from back then. He talks about how back in the day, when back in California, he talks about the gold rush that they had back in the late 1900s. With the whole gold rush with the Chinese, like building the railroad tracks and all that stuff. Around that time, he talks about that. He does into that. It's kind of historical in a sense, pretty dope. Track 15 is the Grand Groove remix. It's a K-Def remix. I kind of prefer that version over the original, even though the original is pretty dope, but the remix is dope. I fucks with that joint right there. And track 16, funky roll outro. It's just an instrumental that's like 20 seconds, so 25 seconds long. That's it. Overall, very dope album, very slept on in my opinion. In this album, he kind of goes more political compared to the first album, because with the first album was like kind of like more like his biography in a sense, where like how he came up and stuff like that in Queensbridge and things like that. With this album, he kind of got more political. Yeah, he's like more angry, more aggressive, and things like that. I love the production on this album. Both Marley Marl and K-Def definitely did their thing. You know what I mean? Marley Marl has been a busy, and K-Def definitely had to be busy people, because around that same time they were actually working on LL Cool J's 14 Shots to the Dome. So, but yeah, man, very dope, very underrated. Album is long out of print. Well, I think they reissued it. They just recently reissued it last year. But like I said, it's kind of hard to find, but I wouldn't spend too much money on it. I mean, I've seen it go up, but I've seen it go down too in price, because I remember for a time period, the prices for this album was kind of high, but then recent years it kind of went down. So I remember getting this album for maybe like $5.99, $4 or $5 or some shit like that. But like I said, if you guys like political hip hop, like Public Enemy, Paris, early Ice Cube, shit like that, then you would definitely enjoy this album. So if you guys are expecting like later Tragedy Gaddafi, from CNN, War Report, you're gonna be highly disappointed. You're not gonna get that. But this album right here, pretty dope. Like I said, it's sad that people don't really talk about this album as much, but it is what it is. And that's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed that review. Stay tuned for more. Peace.